With the Nintendo eShop going down, it's only a matter of time before Pokemon Bank eventually closes, and this will leave some Pokemon unobtainable. These are 17 Pokemon you need to catch right now. Celebi is Gen 2's mythical Pokemon, which can only be obtained through the Virtual Console on the 3DS version of Pokemon Crystal. After beating the Elite Four, the player will receive a GS Ball that allows them to activate the Celebi event in Ilex Forest and catch it. And this encounter isn't shiny locked, so players with the game are able to even hunt for the amazing red variant. This means if you weren't able to get a copy of Crystal before the eShop went down, Celebi is currently unobtainable. Now, players have been able to get Celebi by hacking their 3DS and setting it up, but this is super risky, however, making both versions of Celebi a very sought-after Pokemon. Now, Deoxys is one Pokemon that nearly any player can acquire, however. All you need is money. That's right, all you need is a 3DS and a copy of Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. Towards the end of the game, after catching Rayquaza and beating Zinnia, you'll fly up towards the meteor. And after Mega Rayquaza destroys it, Deoxys will come out and battle you. While there's no way to get a shiny variant, this is currently the only way to get Deoxys, and it's actually pretty doable to catch it and send it up to home. Victini was only made available in black and white through Nintendo distributions, which ended for Gen 5 over a decade ago. There is still a way to get Victini along with both Meloetta and Genesect, which today are three extremely rare Pokemon. And to do this, players have actually set up a server which allow you to access these events. You simply need to change your 3DS DNS settings and set your primary DNS to the number on the screen. Now, when you go into black and white and connect via Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, you'll be allowed to access one completely random event within the game. It will be different each time, with one possible event as the Liberty Pass for Victini, along with Meloetta or Genesect in black and white too. But Ash's Greninja is something of an even higher rarity in today's standards. Ash's Greninja was only obtainable through the demo version of Pokemon Sun and Moon. The player would be given one to play through the entire demo with, and once the demo was completed, they could talk to Professor Kukui and tell him you want to send the Greninja to the full game, and players could then get it as a mystery gift in the full version of Sun or Moon. What makes this so rare is that the demo is no longer downloadable, so to get this, you would have to have one saved on your 3DS already, and seeing as it's a demo, most players would have deleted it to save space when the full game came out. There are some other less rare Pokemon that are also currently locked outside of owning a Nintendo 3DS with the correct game. The Gen 6 starters Froakie, Chespin, and Fennekin were obtainable for a short time in a Gen 9 Terra Raid event, but that has since ended. Sniffy and Tepig are two other starters also in a similar situation. The only reason Oshawott isn't on this list is because it was a starter in Arceus Legends. You can actually Pokemon Home it to Scarlet and Violet and have it evolve into a regular Samurott. Snivy and Tepig don't have this luxury though, so if you want them, you'll have to move it up from one of the Gen 5 games. It's worth noting that some Pokemon can be obtained in Pokemon Go, but you have to get one from a mainline game before it'll let you move it to one. Magerna is a Pokemon that can be acquired through QR codes in Pokemon Sun and Moon and the Ultras. You have to beat the game first, but once you have it, you simply scan a QR code from a website. From here, you simply go to Hau'oli Mall's antique shop and you will be given a Magerna. Now, it's also worth noting that you can technically get the Pokeball Magerna from home, but you have to catch a Magerna first to obtain that since it requires completing the national dex. We'll also provide QR codes for each region in a link down below. Now, for any old school glitch fans, the next thing we're going to talk about is the tweaking glitch from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Tweaking is a glitch that causes the game to improperly load the graphics of an area. Basically, the Gen 4 world loads in tile chunks, and using the bicycle in 4th gear can cause the player to move faster than the areas can actually load. Now, sometimes this will just freeze your game, but if done as intended, a blank tile will load over a door frame so that the player can access the void tile. Now from here, it's actually possible to navigate through the interconnecting area of the void to places like New Moon Island and the Flower Paradise. And these are where number 13 and 14, Darkrai and Shaman, can be caught and shiny hunted. Now, Darkrai was available in BDSP, but that event has long ended and is no longer obtainable. You can still catch a Darkrai in Legends Arceus, but it is, of course, shiny locked. The same goes for Shaman. Now, although this is an iconic iconic Gen 4 glitch, it's also worth noting that this is all extremely risky. Once you enter the void, there's a huge risk of save file corruption if the wrong moves are made. Now, to acquire Mana Fee, there was a limited time event in BDSP between November 19th, 2021 to February 21st, 2022, but this has since ended. You can also catch it by completing Professor Blackboard's Request 66 in Legends Arceus, but it is shiny locked. And of course, as you might be expecting, it's shiny Mana Fee that we're after today. This is a fun one, to say the least. To catch a shiny Mana Fee, you first need to beat Pokemon Ranger and obtain the Mana Fee egg. What's so crazy is copies of Pokemon Ranger are limited to 1 egg per cartridge, meaning that most games you come across will already have had the egg extracted. You also want to have 2 copies of Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, and that is because this Mana Fee egg is shiny locked in the game it's sent to. So once it's been distributed to a game, you have to trade it to the other copy to reset the chance at it being shiny. Now, that Mana Fee will never be shiny with the trainer ID of the original game it's sent to, but it retains its personality value from that save. What this means is you can constantly keep starting new saves, get to the point where you can trade and have it traded over. Next, you hatch it in the new game, check the summary to see if it's shiny, and if it's not, you reset so that the egg is unhatched. Then you start a new save on your other copy, trade it over, and repeat until you have your shiny Jelly Baby. Now, players can get a gifted Jirachi if they play BDSP while having a Sword or Shield save on their Switch account. And as you've probably guessed, we want to look at how players can get shiny Jirachi. So to do this, you want to use the Pokemon Coliseum bonus disc and send it to Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire. This is Ruby or Sapphire only, it will not work on Emerald. Now, when you receive the Jirachi, the game puts a flag into that save file. That flag is a bit of a roadblock and it will stop you from getting a shiny one. But to override this, the current fastest shiny hunting method is the second backup save method. This involves corrupting the current save and reverting back to the game's backup save where the flag from receiving Jirachi hasn't been set yet. This allows you to reset for a shiny Jirachi much faster than other methods with around a 2-minute cycle. But of all the rare and hard to obtain Pokemon out there, none require a greater level of dedication than shiny Mew. Like Jirachi, players who have a Let's Go save on their Switch can get a free Mew in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl. There is, however, another way players can get Mew, and this is through the old reliable Mew glitch in Pokemon Red and Blue on the 3DS Virtual Console. And while Red and Blue will be the place we acquire our shiny Mew, the method that you're probably familiar with is not actually capable of providing one. Oh no. While the method to get shiny Mew does start with this glitch, it is much more complicated than that, to the point that the most comprehensive guide which exists is 45 minutes long. Basically, it involves catching a Mew and using the Mysignal glitch to alter your bag data, which can then open up a bunch of code to alter the Mew. It's really complicated, but by doing this, it gives it the right DVs so that future games that actually have a shiny mechanic will recognize it as shiny, and more importantly, it will be viewed as legitimate and not a hacked Pokemon. It is an absolute grind, but with a lot of time and effort, players have been known to get a shiny Mew all the way to Pokemon Home.